You know, you have a remarkable penchant for brassieres. So we start this conversation. Now the room is silent. And in the room is Jerry Seinfeld, Larry David, and 40 writers. And all the other guys had come in. I was last. All the other guys had come in, had torn the place up. And I thought, this isn't good.
You were telling me this morning a little bit about your time on Seinfeld. And I know you get that a lot, and that's like one of the iconic things. And I think that all of us at some point have had it's that show has been an integral part of our life in some way. It's affected us, in some way. So, what was that like working on that show? You did a fantastic job.
Thank you. I did 200 television shows and films in a 23-year period. I started on Alice in 76, and I was a regular on Alice. And then I did the whole lexicon of, Cheers, Night Court, did all of those. And then in the 90s, I was blessed actually not only to do Seinfeld, but I became a regular on Home Improvement, which I also like. And then I did Star Trek TNG. So at the end of my time in LA, it was quite wonderful. Seinfeld was the highlight of my career. I mean, it was the audition itself. As comics, you'll appreciate this. I go in to read, and we're in one of those terrible rooms. There's 40 comics. They really work. And people all who had specials on Comedy Central. These were not people on open mic events. These were names. And I thought, what am I doing here exactly? And so they go in, and there's this very small room with 40 people that should only fit 20. And the rooms are torn apart. They're laughing. The laughs are enormous. And I'm thinking, that's not what I'm seeing in this script. So I go in, and this is the one where we hired George to sell bras, the sniffing accountant. So he's, and I have some poor young man or young woman reading with me who can't read. So that's always fun. And he or she said, so brassieres are very interesting. And I go, yes, you have a remarkable penchant for brassieres. So we start this conversation. Now the room is silent. And in the room is Jerry Seinfeld, Larry David, and 40 writers. And all the other guys had come in. I was last. All the other guys had come in, had torn the place up. And I thought, this isn't good. I'll be burning my SAG card in Westwood. That's where this is going. So I finish, and there's silence. And then Larry David said, that was very funny. And then Jerry Seinfeld said, yes, Larry, very funny. And it dawned on me. What the other guys were doing was try to prove that they knew what the jokes were. I played a guy who loved brassieres. And I played a guy who was looking for a guy who loved brassieres, not sexually, but saw that as a wonderful marketing tool. And that's not funny. It's not funny to Sid Farkas.
No.
He doesn't see anything funny about this. But the other guys were finding the jokes. And what the people were laughing at was their own material. But on the other hand, I showed them that this guy was real. And if Seinfeld was anything, as crazy as it got, at its core, it was always absolutely truthful. And that's true of comedy. You can't, if you bring stuff onto comedy, then you're not on Comedy Central, really. You're on some other lineup.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to be a comic. I'm an actor. And I had found what I thought was a reality for this guy. And they didn't, so I was cast. And then they brought me back to do another episode. And that show was deadly to do because in the 2 weeks I filmed it, they fired at least 3 people. You know, if you didn't get a line right or they didn't like it, you were out. I mean,
Wow.
$2,500 or $5,000 didn't mean anything to them. We'll get another actor. We'll get it what we want. And on the night we filmed, the one night I remember, Woody Allen and Diane Keaton were in the audience. So this was not like Home Improvement, where a lot of people from Iowa were in the audience. This was the industry in the audience, and that's also a killer.